enough time. I will be back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to 93.5 FM. Unity. Welcome back if you are a regular tuner. I do the show obviously on raising children. Last week we looked at food and the effects it has on children. This week I'm addressing home education. So if you are a home educator, then I'd really appreciate you calling into the show and telling me about some of your experiences. 0121 772 8892. And maybe handy if you have good if you've got a pen at hand, because we're going to go through different things. We're obviously going to look at the benefits of homeschooling, why some people may choose to homeschool. How do you take your children out of school? You know, you've been thinking about it and you're like, right, I'd like to take them out of school. How do we go about it? What does the law say? You know, and we'll go on through different things and the different ways of homeschooling, which is where you may wish to have a pen handy. So, okay, going straight in there. So why would somebody choose to home educate? Obviously, I've done a little bit of research and I've found a few main facts. One of them is that the national curriculum may have subjects that as Muslims we feel we don't really want our children to learn. So some of these subjects may be music. Obviously as Muslims we don't listen to music, and in schools they're encouraged obviously to play musical instruments, etc. And then there's physical education, where obviously there's free mixing and maybe the children are dressed inappropriately when it comes to stuff like swimming. And the dreaded one, relationship education, where they learn about relationships and maybe how, us babies come into the world, etc. But yeah, these are the kind of subjects that as parents we feel like, no, I actually don't want my children to take part in this lesson. So we feel obliged to remove our children because of this. And obviously, as home educators, we can then supplement these areas with, sufficient education that we feel reflects our attitudes and beliefs. I was obviously doing the research, and the Muslim Council of Britain in 2007 produced a document, and it was called Towards Greater Understanding, Meeting the Needs of Muslim Pupils in State Schools, Information and Guidance for Schools. And in it, it is quite informative. It addressed how schools can go about helping the parent meet these areas of needs and, maybe going around them. Obviously we know that a lot of schools make sex education or relationship education optional. So you can choose to pull your children out of this. The dangers of that is when your children have obviously not taken part in something, they then are exposed to the playground talk. And obviously it's what did you learn in class? And, coming from another maybe 5 or 6 year old is not going to be the best way for them to learn about relationships, etc. So that can be a bit messy. But yeah, music. Now, I work in schools. I met up with a Muslim Ofsted inspector, and we were having a great in-depth conversation about music in the national curriculum and about ways that you can go around it. We know, of course, that there is no harm in our children learning about the theory of music. Hence, what is music? What does it compose of, etc. And then there are certain strands which can still be met, but you don't maybe have to, you can use different instruments. Like we know we can use a duff, for example, which is almost like a drum. And, composition can be done through the adhan. So we know that when we hear the adhan, the same word is being used, Allahu Akbar, right? And we hear it throughout. But if we were to play a different part of it, we could then say to the child, can you identify which part this is coming from? This then falls into composition. So it gets quite messy, but I mean, if you've got a good school that's willing to, listen to you, have a meeting with you and come around these, or find ways of making, your child's education a happier one, then absolutely great. And there are some schools out there that are willing to do that. And lastly, swimming, but this document, like I said, that was produced by the Muslim Council of Britain, highlights a lot of these things. So if, for example, you are having problems with the school and you're thinking, you know what, you don't know how to communicate with them what you're trying to say, then this document is great. It was produced in 2007, however, and there have been many changes since. So do bear that in mind. So another reason that, a parent may choose to remove their child from national curriculum education is because of bullying. I've often gone to home education groups because I was homeschooling my son at one point, and a lot of the children found that they were getting bullied. My son, when it comes to social interaction, does stand out from the rest, and he did find that at the time. And when I spoke to other parents, they said that they felt a lot more at ease knowing that they did what they could to maybe nurture their child's education and cushion these responses. Do we send our children to school and ask them to, just deal with the environment that they're in? Or, do we take them out of an environment? How do we assess whether or not it's our child or the environment? So a lot of, children did feel that they didn't want to go to school because of bullying, Now, bearing in mind, we are in a climate where children are playing a lot of games that have got violence in them, etc. And I do want to say this to parents. If you are letting your children play games that have got a certificate rating higher than your child's age, then there will be consequences. A group of people have made this decision for a reason. Your child is not ready to, access these scenes or listen to certain language. You have to take action as parents, and not become, affected by the peer pressure that may come from other parents. So home education, that's the topic. If you feel like you want to comment on something that I've said so far or something that's to come, 0121 772 8892. Would love to hear your views on this. Are you a teacher? Do you disagree with what's been said? Right, so moving on. You want to take your child out of school. What does the law say about this? Well, according to the 1986 Act, we are actually entitled to educate our children, and the wording that it comes under is A, to his age, ability and aptitude, and to B, to any special educational needs he may have, either by regular attendance at school or otherwise. Now that is the famous word, otherwise, that gives us as parents the ability to home educate our children. You're sending your children to an institute to get an education. You're doing what you need to do as a parent. You can choose to delegate that role, or you can do it yourself. The option is open to you. So how do you do this? All you have to do is write a letter to the school telling them that you wish to withdraw them, and that obviously you're going to home educate. Where it's special needs, I understand that it is a little bit more complex. Now, not falling too far out of the equation, there was a case quite a while ago in 2008, which I cannot ignore, and that was the tragedy of Kyra Ishaq's death. This was a young girl who we know, was left to starve to death. But the big thing in the article was that she'd recently been taken out of home education. The parent had said that she was going to home educate her child. So, we have to understand that as home educators, the law has changed in terms of all of these home visits. Yes, they want to send someone round to see how you're teaching your children, but bear in mind your child doesn't have to be there. That, it's just about you supplying, the work for them to show that you're educating them sufficiently, at their age, ability and aptitude. That's all they want to see. Just very briefly, I wanted to touch on that. Obviously, it was a very sad case, and we will touch later on some of the more delicate subjects later on down the show, inshallah. So, moving on, what is required of you? The facts about home education. You do not need to be a qualified teacher to educate your child at home, believe it or not. Now, I've supported a couple of parents with home educating, and they often come to you and they're like, where do I start? And they obviously look at the national curriculum and become slightly overwhelmed by it and think that, they have to do the whole English, maths, etc. So, obviously, the fact that you don't have to be a teacher means that, you are open to giving them a style of learning that suits you. Some people don't like paper. They like visually learning. So that's how they choose to help their children learn. So, but we'll go on later on to some of the ways that we can help our children learn, inshallah. But yeah, if you're a homeschooler and you wanted to maybe suggest some ways that you're successful with your children, 0121 772 8892. If you want to share some advice with us, that would be great. Okay, so yeah, moving on to the next point. Your child is not obliged to follow the national curriculum or to take the exams, or is not, doesn't have to. We don't have to ensure that they receive full-time education. There are some schools that do flexi learning as well. So if you choose to send your children to school part-time, there are some schools that, take part in that. But like I said, you really have to get to know your school and see whether or not that's an option for you. Any special educational needs your child may have must be recognised. So if it's a case of you're pulling your child out of school because you feel that they have a special need, then you still have to go down the route of, identifying those special needs and making sure that your child's needs are met. The first point of call would be your GP, your doctors, to voice your concerns, and then you take it from there. You do not need special permission from a school or local authority to home educate, but you do need to notify the school in writing. As I said earlier, if you do choose to home educate, this is all you need to do. And then you do need to notify the local authority if you're removing your child as soon as possible. And it's not a must, but it's just a case of, it's good practice for you as a parent to do this. A lot of people, some people don't like to take this avenue, but there's so much benefit that can come out of informing the local education authority in terms of the groups that they can recommend, etc. You do not need to observe school hours, days or terms. Now, I guess this is one of the benefits of home educating. Some people are morning people and it's a great time for them to learn. Some people, are not. You can work around your child's education how you choose to. If you do it through an outing, then that is your home education right there. Let's go out on a bus today. And okay, can you see any circles? Or we're looking at the wheels, we're looking at the buildings, they're made of squares. That is taking your education outdoors and doing thematic working, which we'll discuss later, inshallah. You do not need to have a fixed timetable nor give formal lessons. A very big misconception, I think, that immediately parents get worried about is having a timetable. For some people it works, for some people it doesn't. It really is down to your style of learning. Unfortunately, there are no funds directly available from the central government for parents who choose to home educate their children. So obviously when you send your children to school, you can get a little bit of money maybe for their uniform, etc. But no, there's no forms of funding, even with the school meals, etc. You don't get these things. Some local authorities do provide guidance for parents, including free national curriculum materials. Again, like I said, informing the local education authority is a benefit for you, because you get to learn about other groups and, you get to access information, which is great, for you as a home educator, especially if, you want to increase your confidence and you want to broaden the way that you're teaching your children. When I was in London, I used to meet up with a group every Thursday. And it was definitely an experience for me that I needed. My son needed it at the time for the socialising, and I needed it so that I could discuss with other parents what was working and what wasn't working. So really recommend that. The role of your local authority is that they can make informal inquiries of parents who are educating. And they can ask of you that you provide for them evidence that suitable education is being given to them. And like I said, if this is a case, then your child does not have to be present. If it appears that the local authority find that they're not receiving suitable education, then obviously this is where they'll bring in other authorities such as social services, etc. Okay, so moving on to the helpful websites. Now, like I said, at one point I was home educating myself, and I immediately got onto the internet and found a great site. There's a couple of sites that I want to mention. The first one being, I don't know which one to mention first, but yeah. Okay, so it's called ISAN, Islamic Home Education. I'm going to say it so that, like I said, if you've got your pen, this is the time to get jotting down now. This website is www.islamichomeeducation.co.uk. Their resources is outstanding. They have a forum that is absolutely filled with different topics, from how you manage as a parent, from what type of groups are working, from science workshops, what to do. It covers everything, and I really would recommend that you go on there and you have a look. Their resources page also has different areas, so even though Isan, to my knowledge, the sisters that run it are from London, they do have different links all over, if you need support. So it was most definitely a great site for me, and a forum that I regularly went on. And I met so many other homeschoolers and was able to get my son to socialise on a bigger scale. And I think, we have to look at socialisation in the early stages. If we look at the early years curriculum, personal and social development, is a strand that they consider as very important. And as I've said earlier, I don't know if anyone recalls, but the theorists do state that in order for a child's learning development to excel, we have to give them sufficient or a good balance of their personal and social development, which means that if you're home educating, you can often fall into the trap of, staying indoors, especially if you have one child. If there's more than one child, then maybe it's better because they are socialising with their peers. But yeah, if that happens, then you can get caught up with being indoors. Whereas if you're going out there, meeting other groups, you're learning about what's available and what's accessible. And it's an experience for your son not for your son, but for your child and for yourself. So, okay, so the other website that I was, having a fight with in saying who comes first was called Education Otherwise. It's www.educationotherwise.net. So they've been going for a very long time. I did contact them to actually get most of my information, which they were great in helping me. And yes, if you go on that site, it states, what to do with law, what to do if you're having problems with schools, if you need help, all kinds of things. You really have to go and access this site and have a look to understand what I'm saying. Other Yahoo groups that are related to Birmingham is a Muslim group, which is MHES at yahoogroups.com. I know a couple of the sisters from there, and mashallah, they've done so great. It's definitely the one to contact if you're looking for workshops that are available. I know they've constantly got workshops on the go on their site. And it's definitely a site to go on in terms of if you've got any questions about different things. The sisters are very helpful. They welcome a new group member, I think, every so often. And they're meeting up. I think they have a weekly meeting every Thursday. And they also have a monthly meeting. If anybody knows about any other groups and, or you do anything to support home educators, then please feel free to call in and let me know. You don't have to go live on air. You can just make a note of it and I'll announce it on air. 0121 772 8892. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those, shows, not shows, like groups that was informative. I mean, if I've ever needed any help with anything, they've been really good in terms of reaching out and helping me with what I need to know with my own journey with homeschooling, which I'm not doing at the moment purely because I felt with my son's special needs, I could top up the education, which is something that I wanted to touch on. Home educating can be an extension for some people who do have their children in school. It doesn't necessarily have to be a case of you totally, pull your children out of school. It could be a case of, that you can spend a little bit of time with your children with their maths or with their literacy, using different books to support that. A really good one is the Bond assessment books, which actually are very good. Right, bear with me a minute. I think we've got a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Are you okay, sister?
Alhamdulillah. It's Yasin again.
Oh, okay. Welcome back.
Don't get tired with me. You call in every week. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, thank you so much, sis.
Alhamdulillah. I just want to say that, I really appreciate your shows. I think that, they're really informative and, the Almighty really helps them. All the information every week that you talk about, your topics are really informative to parents. So, may Allah reward you and continue to reward you and aid you in this.
Ameen. Thank you, sis. Yeah.
But anyways, back to home educating. I don't actually home educate my children as such. They do go to state schools, all three of them, especially the two that do have autism. I do a lot of work with them at home on the weekends, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
For children to actually, even if they are in state school, they should still have some extra activities. This was like you mentioned before about, the stuff that does actually happen in school. You can get to give them that added or, explain things a bit more better, in an Islamic way. There's a few other websites I kind of go on that I'd like to share with the radio.
Okay, we've got literally 50 seconds before we go into an advert break. If you wanted to stay on the line, I'd appreciate it. But what I was going to say to you is that after the break, what I was going to do is just discuss some of the books that we could use. And then, you could maybe recommend the certain websites. We've got maybe 30 seconds. So what are the websites that you recommend?
It's more of a Facebook page, to be quite fair.
Okay.
There's one really good one called Islamic Homeschooling on a Budget. Fabulous page.
Okay.
It's got so much inspirational stuff for the children. There's a few iPhone apps and BlackBerry apps as well. I think, parents need to get on and Google. But that one's really, that's one I use all the time. It's got so much stuff I can't even, explain any much more. But
okay, we're just going to go into the break now. So if you stay on the line, we'll speak to you after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, and welcome to Unity FM on 93.5 FM, the heart of the city in Birmingham. I hereby declare this radio station open.
Palestine, a nation under siege. Help Interpal with the Gaza crisis appeal and please donate generously. Our aim is to support the needy Palestinians in the West Bank, Gaza, Jordan and Lebanon. Come and visit our new office and charity shop, which is now open at 137 to 139 Stratford Road, Sparkbrook. The shop offers a wide range of Palestinian products, including dates, olive oil, Islamic art frames, hijabs, scarves and so much more. Buy gifts for your families and help support Interpal. Please call 0121 771 2762 or go to interpal.org. Interpal, helping Palestinians in need.
Shabir Nawab & Co. Accountants, celebrating 21 years of success in the accountancy profession. Our services include accounts, auditing, self-assessment, payroll, VAT, limited company formations and dealing with tax and VAT investigations. We specialize in healthcare and welcome professionals in the consultancy profession. Why not join us in our success? Visit our website at shabirnawab.co.uk for more details or call 0121 456 1777. That's 456 1777. Shabir Nawab & Co. Accountants for a complete accountancy solution.
Are you planning for Hajj or Umrah? Well, think no more. Al Makawi Travel offers Hajj and Umrah services and worldwide air tickets. We are originally from Makkah and we only promise what we can deliver. We also offer halal investment in Makkah and Medina. Al Makawi Travel is IATA accredited, ATOL protected and approved by the Saudi authority. We are based in Birmingham at 72 Hobmore Road, Small Heath, B10 9BU, opposite Al Hijra Mosque and next to Al Hijra Library. For more details, please call 0121 753-0378 or visit hajjandumrahtravel.com.
Tired of looking at the same old carpet? Well, look no more. We at Heritage Carpets Limited have a 15,000 square feet warehouse. Over 700 rolls of carpets on display, all fitted for free. Heritage has the Midlands' largest collection of rugs, vinyls and laminate flooring. For your free quotation, measurement and fitting, call 0121 778 6444. Open 7 days a week with nationwide fitting services available. We'll beat all genuine written quotations. Visit us at Unit 2AB 47 Foreman's Road, Sparkhill, B11 3AR or online at heritagecarpetsltd.co.uk. Remember, flooring is part of our heritage.
Want to enjoy the best Lebanese and Mediterranean cuisine with family and friends? Then the new Arabia restaurant offers you the most exquisite cuisine in the most sumptuous setting. Choose from an array of charcoal grilled kebabs and fish, Lebanese metzes, and a variety of alternating pastas and pizzas and freshly squeezed juices. Arabia's newly refurbished private family dining area is the ideal place for all your special functions. All our food is halal. Visit 392 Coventry Road, B10 OUF, or call 753 5599. Arabia Restaurant, the home of exquisite, authentic Lebanese cuisine.
Are you having immigration problems? Would you like to bring a family member to the UK? Then Stratford Solicitors can help you. We specialise in immigration and asylum and aim to provide a fast and effective service, ensuring your matters are dealt with efficiently. We also deal with family matters, including marriage difficulties and children's contact applications, and provide a mediation service to help ease your pain. For a free consultation, call 0121 753 2539 or visit Stratford Solicitors, the number 4, YO bou.co.uk. Stratford Solicitors, fighting for justice for you.
Assalamu alaikum, it's Mahmoud Basu. You're listening to Unity FM 93.5.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, are you still with us, sister?
Yes, I am. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So you were saying about the websites, and you mentioned something actually that I hadn't actually thought of. Are there actually apps available on iPhone, etc., for home educators?
There is. I have an app that I use with my kids, all my kids down to my 2-year-old. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. But basically, it says the word, and it gives you an opportunity, the child the opportunity to read the word first, record it, and then play it back, and then they will tell me if it's correct or not, and that's on iPhone. So I think that, the best thing is that parents need to be active, in looking for other solutions, because they're just not going to just, jump out at you. You have to be doing that search. And I think, this is great where you can come on air and, share, other resources. But at the same time, nothing is better than a bit of hard grafting, especially for your own child, alhamdulillah. But, Islamic homeschooling on a budget, Facebook page, absolutely fabulous. There's so much little, arts and crafts, posters, and it's Islamic, so, and it's really informative.
Okay.
There's also something that I was using for my first child, and all my children have used it, and it's called Jolly Phonics, which you can get from the Early Learning Centre.
Okay.
And it's really, it's rather an old film, but or like a DVD, but it's still, very.
I don't want to plug too many brands and get in trouble. Okay, so
free advertising.
Yeah. So, but yes, of course, there's different systems out there. So you chose to keep your children in a state school. Is that what you said?
Yes, they are in a state school because I feel that I think it is a lot of hard work to home educate I think it's a hard work, and you have to be consistent. You have to be organised. I think there is a lot of hard work, and I feel that, if I keep them in state school, then they would be having a level of education, and then I can also top it up and make sure that they're getting their little extras in, where I feel that if I'm just doing it myself, that they could be missing, vital information and opportunity.
Yeah, there was somebody who said that home educating, in terms of being a negative thing, is if you home educate your children, in essence, you're keeping them away from the real world.
Yep.
We have to know about free mixing and all of these things, but we have to know how to function in the real world.
Yep.
So as a Muslim parent then, like I said, there's music, there's, sex education, there's physical education, how have, the school, without exposing the school, you don't have to tell us the name, but,
Well, my experiences with the school is that I let them know that, I practice my religion. This is a religion, and I practice my religion. There's certain things that my children are not going to do. It's not up for negotiating. There's just something that they're not going to do.
Yeah.
However, I do try to find the balance. I do try to find the middle road. So my children do, get to see a bit of everything. For instance, with PE, my children wear their PE clothes under their school uniform, and now, the school was, really, they were looking down their noses at me.
Yeah.
And especially giving my children a hard time, talking about hygiene. And I just had to remind my children, subhanAllah, when we use the bathroom, we wash ourselves, we make wudu, we pray for something. So we're always cleansing, and I had to explain to them, and they don't have a problem. They've now stood their ground, and the school is just kind of,
the leader of the Education Otherwise website, I think her name's Anne Whitcomb, if I got that wrong, I hope not. But I actually seen her getting interviewed, and it was quite impressive. As I said, she said, that if anyone chooses to put their children in school, you're actually delegating a responsibility. So it's the school's responsibility to educate your children. So as parents, you're well within your rights to say, this is how I'd like my child to be educated in this area, which is where I said it's really great if there is an open dialogue where you can communicate with the school and say, as a Muslim, this is how I want my children to be in PE.
Yeah, it can be a bit difficult sometimes, and I suppose that's, why, especially in our ummah, that you would get some, parents that don't want to actually send their children to school, to a state school. But I do feel that the children, would miss out on a lot of, life experiences that you're not going to even indulge in as a Muslim. But I think as a child, in order for them to grow up, and be balanced and, know about everything, I think that they do get, a good whiff of what's actually going to happen or what's actually going on in the world.
So do you top up their education at home then?
Most certainly. Every weekend, my two eldest at the moment, they go to extra English and maths from 10:15 till 1 o'clock.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. I go to the Poundland and I get these little workbooks. I know you mentioned something about bonds. They're from WH Smith and they're rather expensive. So I go to the Poundland and they have these workbooks and I just buy loads of them and let my children go through them. I also have guys. So when dealing with my 2-year-old as well, a lot of Muslims don't have TV in their houses. And I use my TV, a lot for educating my toddler. Rewinding, I've got Sky Plus, so I rewind the program, I go through it, I make sure that she understands colours, and it's a fun way because they can see all these bright colours, all these smiley faces. It's really fun, and it takes the stress off of you as being a teacher so much. It's kind of letting the, I suppose the program guide you, and you can kind of forward stuff that you don't think that is necessary.
Okay.
I do find it of a great benefit of using my TV and the programs that are on there to educate.
Thanks a lot for calling in. As always, you've shared valuable advice, and I really do hope that the show does raise the confidence of other parents to be assertive, like yourself, sister. Mashallah. But yeah, stay tuned. We're still going to cover different ways that you can home educate with your children, and maybe some of the things that we need to address, such as Islamic education. So and feel free to call in next week, inshallah, as well.
Inshallah.
Okay, then take care, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay, so lots of advice there. It does seem to be the common ground or the approach that many parents take, in terms of sending their children to school and maybe topping up their child's education at home. So what I wanted to say is that basically, when we send our children to school, not only are you sending them to school, you're then sending them to a madrasa. So we're handing over the responsibility for other people to educate our children quite a lot. So as parents, are we assessing this, and how do we assess it? We've just got another caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sister.
Are you okay, brother? What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Brother Sadiq. I'm calling from Great Bar, alhamdulillah.
Okay, thank you for calling in. You wanted to comment on the topic?
Jazakallah, mashallah, it's a very good topic, and I'd just like to air a few points that, when it comes to... Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, when it comes to education, the main thing is that I'm a parent myself and I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 16 years.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I run a tuition centre in Lozals, plus I'm setting up a second one in Perry Bar, Hansard Wood area.
Yeah.
I've worked with various madrasas and I know the importance of education, and what we're tending to tell parents is that part of the ethos of education is that you can't just put the responsibility on for example, on a school. You've got to be involved as well. I mean, the sister made a lot of comments and good comments as well, how she is involved and how she's, getting her toddler to be engaging in program. There's a lot of free applications, sister, out there if you've got Android or you got the iPhones and stuff, which actually engage children. Instead of gaming, engages them to understanding colours and phonics and sounds.
So where were you doing? Where were you doing your initiative again? Because I think you've called in before, have you?
Yes, I have, sister. I mean, our tuition centre, we do 11 plus, key stage 2, 3, 4. That's called Aspire and Succeed. You just have to Google it. You'll find Aspire and Succeed Lozels. And the second tuition centre, because the mass of people of the success of that one, we're setting up another one. But this one's going to be totally different, sister. We're doing weekday madrasa, but with one day, we're going to do English and maths.
Okay.
Because a lot of parents, you know, like, they won't send the child for the weekday because they want to do 11 plus, tutor, blah, blah, blah. So we're addressing that now.
Yeah.
We're addressing it in the madrasa itself. But I tend to tell a lot of parents that it is also responsibility of parents to be involved. You can't just throw everything on the tutor. And so what we set up is some classes for the parents to refreshen their maths and English skills as well.
Brilliant.
Because some parents, you know what's happening. The child comes home and is asking a question about proverbs, adverbs, prepositions. There's some mixed fractions. There's questions to do with, you know, what's the angle of reflex, obtuse angle. Parents have forgot it all because they haven't been in the school education 15, 16 years.
So are you in a position where you're actually then, you know, because like I says, there seems to be a lot of parents, you know, that really do want to get the best out of their children, you know. Do you offer advice then and support to these parents?
We offer free advice on the Saturdays under Aspire. And the centre which we're setting up between those three areas, which is Great Bar, Perry Bar, Hampstead and Handsworth Wood. You see, there's no madrasa there other than the one we set up called Masjid Aisha.
Okay.
So we're going to set up another madrasa, but at the same time, giving the key stage 1, 2, 3, 4 tutoring lessons, and also educating the parents as well. Because the plan is during the daylight hours, say from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We want, sisters and brothers who work late night.
Excellent. We've just got another caller on the line. Let me just see who's calling in. Well, you'll stay on the line as well, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah, no problem.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. It's just Yasin again.
Oh, okay. We've got you both on then.
Yeah, I just wanted to, help the brother in, stating the same thing. I just felt that I just had to comment when he started mentioning about parents actually being more involved. It is vital that parents are on board. I think education, and the parents, the teacher and the parents, they go hand in hand for me, like Quran and Sunnah.
I think what the brother was saying, though, is that he's actually offering advice now and actual classes to parents, that want to get the best out of their children. And as a teacher, I think that's great because, when we're in schools as teachers, we see what's going on when you leave your children in schools, and, that's great. Did you want to say something, brother?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I mean, mashallah, what you said is hitting it right on the nail because, unfortunately, when people are involved in businesses or they've got jobs, they don't put so much time in their child's work ethics. That's the bottom line. That's what I've seen 15, 16 years of my life as a teacher. I've seen that when I've done private tuition, gone to someone's house, the parents say, aapke zimmar hai. It's just like, it's all your responsibility. I said, hold on, how can it be my responsibility? You've had that child, Allah's giving it to you. Yes, Allah's put me in your path. But at the end of the day, you're going to be zimmar on that child in terms of how you talk to that child and also what you're telling the child as well. If you want a child to become educated, you can't just always put the child down saying, number 22's child's more clever than you, he's got 4 A stars. And some parents do that. That puts the child's esteem down. What our role is to actually put the child's esteem up and say, it doesn't matter, give it a try. At the end of the day, the more you try, the better you get at it. And then if you talk to the child as a Muslim, and not like a child in the terms of, you're naughty, you're wrong, you didn't listen to me, you should be punished. The child will just get more arrogant and will not want to learn about education. Thinking education is just boring. It's up to us as teachers and parents to make education fun. That's the most important thing. Look at the Sunnah and the Tarbiyah of the Prophet ﷺ, how he educated the people of his time. He tried to put the serious aspect, but the fun side was, at the end of the day, you'll get Jannah. You'll receive the most important thing, the gift that Allah gives you is Jannah. You get Jannah in the dunya with your children as well, as long as you bring them up properly, otherwise there'll be a fitna to you. You get Jannah with your money as long as you earn it halal. So everything comes hand in hand, sister. At the end of the day, parents have to be 100% behind the tarbiyah of their children. You can't be just tutors like myself.
We have to work together, and we have to get back this sense of community. I really feel that everybody's so busy, looking after their own interests, their own business interests, that we don't, look at how are these children growing up? Who are they going to be? Because ideally, as Muslims, we're social beings, we're peacemakers. Are we really nurturing these peacemakers? I don't see that. I see that these games, this music, this TV, these other environments are nurturing the children, and parents are losing this battle. Did you want to say something, sister? We're coming to the end now.
I was just going to say that I feel that I don't think that the games and the TV and the phones are bad. I think it's how the parent nurtures the child with it, and I use a lot of these things, games. Everything is a teaching lesson. Me driving in the car, everything is, there's always something to learn, and parents have to be, involved, and they have to be active. It's not just about having children, trying to, raise them and just leaving the children just to be reckless. Sending your child mosque, and then, he's in his thobe going to the mosque, and then when he gets back, he's got his trousers halfway down his bum and wanting to be the latest bad man. I think that the parents have got, they've really got to pull their socks up.
But then, I think parents are in denial, because the minute your children are out of the door and they get into that teenager stage and they're bopsing down the road and then they've got their trousers halfway down there, the parents are oblivious to this. And they don't see who their child is becoming. And this is why I'm saying, in the early stages, you have to shape who that child is going to desire to become. You want that child to emulate the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you have to put that love in that child's heart from the early stages. If they're going to be, put in abundance of these football players and all of that, well, then that's who they're going to, want to love and follow. There's
nothing wrong with that, really, them to be saying that they want to be a football player, they want to be this. There's nothing wrong with that. I just strongly believe, as a parent myself, and having two autistic children, I do feel that, it is how the parent educates them about that football or about that computer game. If, for instance, both of my boys, they are obsessed with guns. Now, my mum, she will be totally against me giving my boys toy guns, and I'll be like, Mum, at the end of the day, I've got to teach my children what is play. This is, and what.
I just want to bring the brother in. Sorry to interrupt, because we're coming up to the end of the show now. But brother, you're a teacher and you work in madrasas, and the point that I was making is that when
I say I'm a teacher, I'm actually a qualified teacher. So I've taught in mainstream, I've taught at a grammar school, I've taught at Matthew Bolton, I work with Joseph Chamberlain. We're working with a proper Islamic madrasa at the moment, which is a full-time school. So all the mainstream education, I've done that. The point I'm trying to say is, when it comes to gaming, you have to look at the certificate. Parents are blind to the certificate of the game. A lot of the children are playing games at 18 plus, 18, 15. And parents are the ones that are actually purchasing these games. We've had issues where parents have bought them and said, there's nothing wrong with it, but then they don't seem to realise that child is going to take on the character of the game. A lot of the fights, a lot of the problems that happen over in schools through Facebook is what they socially are doing on the games as well. They're allowed to blog on the games. If you get a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, you can blog, you can talk, you can actually make comments about what you thought about the other game player. These tend to actually extend into violence. A lot of the kids go back to school. Oh, you said this about me, all right, and then punch up, a kick up has taken place. How did it all start? It all started from the home, inside an environment where it should have been safe. A lot of parents are not educated with this thing. That's the main thing, and it's our job to make sure they understand. These things, we don't want to take them away from the child, but at the same time, we want to make sure they endorse the equipment properly. It's like a knife, sister. You have a knife for two things. You can zabah animal halal, or you can murder someone. So it's the same thing with a computer. You can do halal with it, or you can look at pornography and look at music, and that could destroy you as a person. You understand? So it's up to us to say, no, it's not wrong for them to have it, but it's the tool, how we're supposed to give them the right guidance. That's our tool. We're supposed to give the parents the guidance. Because a lot of parents are not aware of the dangers of the internet. A lot of Asian Muslim parents don't know that. They just think it's fine, it's for homework, it's brilliant. But not everyone's looking at the social aspects. That's what I like to say, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in, brother. And stay tuned and stay in for the gaming show, because we definitely want to get your input on that, inshallah.
No problem at all.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, I hope I've done the right line. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, right. If I've got lots of different buttons and stuff. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, thank you again for calling back, and I hope you got the gist of what we were saying. I think what we're all in agreement of is that parents have to be very proactive in knowing your children, and education, like I was trying to say earlier, is that, you send your children to school and then you send your children to madrasa. You're placing an awful lot of responsibility and you're delegating a lot of responsibility to other people to educate your children. So, with that comes a great responsibility. You have to know what's going to come as a result of that, So
that's that's why I so strongly advise that our parents, our children do go to spend a lot of time elsewhere getting education. That's why I think it's more important that the parents do know that we have a lot of time to kind of put other things into place and to look for different kind of materials for our children, and making sure, keeping on top of what they're receiving, what are they studying, and so therefore you can go out there and think, okay, then they're doing this. Let me be a bit of ahead of the game and start them on another subject that they're going to be doing in the next month. So when they do get that subject, they're more aware of it. They can more interact and take the information in a bit more better. I think that's what my advice would be to the parents.
Okay, we're coming up to the end of the show, so like I said, feel free to give us a buzz next week, inshallah. I think I'm officially going to look at halal entertainment, so that will be the topic of next week. What do we put in front of our children? When we say you can't watch this, you can't watch that, well then what can they watch? So we're going to be discussing that next week, inshallah. But thanks again for calling in, and we'll speak to you next week, inshallah.
Okay,
all right, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, so just wrapping up then. The show goes ever so quickly when I get people calling in. The different approaches that I just wanted to quickly wrap up on, if you are homeschooling or if you want to top up your child's education, is themed work. So you could start off with a topic. So if you've got your pen, it would be handy to write down now. So let's say, for example, you're looking at buildings. So you'd write buildings in the middle, and then we'd look at the mathematics connection with it. And obviously with buildings, we could look at shapes, we could look at area, we could look at perimeter, things like that. And then for geography with buildings, you could look at the different types of views, like a bird's eye view. For the science, we could look at, what building is good, what makes a strong building. So that's themed work, where you start in the middle and you kind of branch out into lots of different subjects. So what you're doing is you can then look at the child and say, okay, what is my child passionate about? My son had a thing for insects, so when he had a thing for insects, we'd start on that project and then we'd branch out. The second thing I wanted to add on is the bond assessment books. They're about £5, I think, and they're very informative, and for me, I really enjoy using them with my son. But yeah, and thirdly, the Montessori approach, it's generally used in the early years. Idea is that we use little stuff, little tables, little chairs, and there's lots of different ways that you can work with your children. There's lots of literature available on the website for you to look at in terms of that. Another one is lap books. I actually loved doing a lap book with my son. It's literally, if you get two folders and cut them so that it's not a folder anymore, the bit that actual has the stuff that goes in, and then glue the two flaps together, it then becomes like a little book that you can fold out, and then you can stick things to it that kind of come out into 3D. You can make little pouches, and it's a great way again of just going outside of the box. Different people learn differently. Some people are visual learners, some people learn through listening, some people learn through writing. You know, we have different special needs. I myself have dyslexia, so if you put any form of reading in front of me, I panic, you know, and go into panic mode. So definitely, you know, sometimes not a good thing for me. So rounding up, I mean, I didn't cover a lot of the stuff that I wanted to, but I hope, you know, as always, it's been an informative show. If there's anything that you do want me to address or any comments you want to make, I'm open to it. You can email studio@unityfm.net, and you know, please, if you want me to discuss any particular project or any topic, then please let me know. I do intend, like I says, to look at the effects of gaming and all these games, consoles, etc. on children's development. And the famous one, we're going to look at music. You know, we're not meant to listen to it as Muslims, but Allah knows best whether as adults you listen to it and whether your children are listening to it. And there are plenty of ways that they can do it, you know. At school they play a lot of music to engage the children, and a lot of people have the ringtones on their phones, etc. So that's one that I'm definitely planning on doing. And then I wanted to look at halal entertainment. You know, what do we allow our children to watch? We say so many things to them. You can't watch this, you can't watch that, you know. Diary of a Bad Man, you know, such a debatable topic. Some people love it, some people hate it. Should we get the brother onto the show? I'd love to get him onto the show and just ask him what's his position on that. But yeah, please email me, studio@unityfm.net. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am a builder. I listen to Unity FM in my digger. 93.5, heart of the city.
Muslim Aid is responding to the desperate crisis in Syria. Operating on the Lebanon and Jordan borders, Muslim Aid is providing medical care and food to people fleeing the fighting. Your help is needed now. Please donate by calling 020-7377-4200 or visit muslimaid.org. Thank you.
This is Sheikh Abu Hanifa. You are listening to Unity FM on 93.5.
Are you looking for the ideal restaurant to get together with family and friends? Then La Favorita is the place to be. We offer the very best authentic Italian and Asian cuisine, along with a full range of French patisseries. All our meat is 100% halal. We also offer personalised cakes and catering services for all types of occasions, including special parties and corporate events. Special discounts available. To make a booking, call 771 4112 or visit 72 Alfred Street, Sparkbrook, B12 8JP. Alternatively, visit lafavorita.co.uk for more info.
Donate your zakat and sadaqah to Reed Foundation's Orphan Sponsorship Programme. £30 per month, that's only £1 per day, can provide an orphan child with food, clothing, medical care and a good education. Reed Foundation is looking after 8,000 orphans, but so many more are waiting to be sponsored. Make a world of difference for just £1 a day. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "I and the one who looks after an orphan will be like this in paradise," joining his middle and index fingers together. Sponsor an orphan today. Call 0121 326 7878 or visit reedfoundation.org.uk.
Have you suffered injury from an accident in the last 3 years which wasn't your fault? Our team of specialist personal injury lawyers at Claim PI Solicitors can help you claim compensation. Whether you've had a slip or trip, an accident at work or been involved in a road traffic accident, call 0121 366 0444 for honest and reliable legal advice. Remember, no fees, no deductions. You keep 100% of your compensation. There is no shame in making an honest claim. Call 0121 366 0444. Claim PI Solicitors. People who care. People you can trust.
Ismail's Grill, the first halal steakhouse in Birmingham, is now open. Birmingham's best beefsteak, succulent chicken, T-bone, rump or luscious lamb steak and much more. Kids meals and fresh ice cream milkshakes. Or why not treat yourself to one of our party platters or mouth-watering desi cries. All meat is 100% halal non-stunned. Modern decor, function hall, weddings, parties or for any occasion. Open 7 days a week from lunch till late. 207 Stratford Road, Spark Hill, B11 1QT. Call 0121 706 3355. Ismail's Grill, the first halal steakhouse in Birmingham.
Looking for great office space for your business? Digbeth Court Business Centre offers you the chance to move into exciting new offices from as little as £75 a week. Yes, only £75 per week. And that's not all. There are no utility bills, no business rates and no service charges to pay. Digbeth Court offers you a unique chance to start, expand or relocate your business to a great location. We also have meeting rooms and prayer facilities. So call now for a viewing on 0121 690 9000. That's 0121 690 9000.
You have the power to listen to Unity FM. The force is strong within the community on 93.5